President of the General Assembly, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, distinguished members of the delegations accompanying us today, ladies and gentlemen. When I first came to the United Nations General Assembly in 2019, I know that many people didn't know about Salvador or had never even heard of it, and if they had, it was only bad things, either as the most violent country in the world or the country of the Maras. Others didn't even know where it was on the map, but thank God the situation has changed significantly, and in a very short time. 5 years after that first speech, I came here as the president of a country that now has a voice in the world. In my previous speeches at this General Assembly, I told you about our aspiration for true independence. For decades, we were shackled by the consequences of an imported civil war, a false peace that claimed more lives than the war itself. I also spoke about how important it is to remember that the government's first responsibility is to its own people, and about how important it is to take our destiny into our own hands. We were naive to think that other countries would save us or that other countries would give us freedom out of the kindness of their hearts. We should have understood this and then found the courage to break our own chains and declare our own law, our own legal right to be free. In the past 5 years, Salvador has been reborn. We returned the streets of our country to our people and created a thriving tourism industry, hosting international surfing competitions, sports, and entertainment events. We gave thousands of Salvadorans who fled from war and poverty a country they can return to. We turned our country, once the murder capital of the world, into the safest country in the West. It was the greatest challenge our nation has ever overcome, and although we still have a long way to go and much to achieve, we are within reach of true independence and on the path to complete freedom. The transformations in Salvador are unparalleled and our success is undeniable. Anyone can visit Salvador and see it for themselves. Salvadorans, regardless of who they voted for, which city or town they were born in, how little or how much they had, whether they are inside or outside our borders, they have united to work and support each of our decisions, each of those decisions that allow Salvador, each Salvador, to be a country where people can live peacefully and happily, where spiritual aspirations in addition to material ones are extended to everyone. Today the world sees Salvador as an example and wonders how a nation can rise so quickly. But maybe that's not the question they should be asking. Maybe they should be asking a different question. How did it happen that the world is falling so quickly? They say that Salvador is going against the current because while Salvador has become safer, the world has become less safe, and at the same time the people of Salvador have become more optimistic. Most people in the modern world are becoming more and more pessimistic. And yes, they are right. The world has become divided, depressed, anxious, hostile, and hopeless, and this is happening at an unprecedented speed. Today, the free world is no longer free, and this is not an exaggeration. As tragic as it is, we see undeniable evidence of this decline every day. War threats persist. When the free world became free, it happened thanks to the principles of freedom of speech, equality before the law, unity, and respect for private property. But as soon as a country abandons the principles that make it free, it's only a matter of time before it loses its freedom completely. The consequences of this are unfolding before our eyes. We can see them in some so-called first world cities. Stores are forced to keep their goods behind locked glass doors to prevent theft. And I'm not even talking about expensive items, but about simple things like a chocolate bar or a razor. In other cities, the streets no longer belong to the people, but have fallen into the hands of poverty, organized crime gangs, and drugs. You can't claim to be the free world if even your people can't walk the streets freely without fear of being harassed, robbed, or killed. We're also seeing freedom of speech erode in real time. Just 10 years ago, the West was a bastion of freedom of speech, and now it's being lectured by those who used to speak their minds. The world's largest social networks are forced to censor their users at the request of their governments. Western citizens have been arrested for sharing social media posts. Ruling parties have tried to ban their political opposition. This is not an accusation or a theory. These are verified and well-documented facts. You can't gain people's respect without respecting them. This didn't even start that long ago, but we notice it more because in recent years this process has accelerated, and this acceleration means we're approaching a grim turning point. We are facing a new dark age of humanity. As Salvadorans, we recognize these symptoms of decline when we see them because we've been through all of this. We have gone through the stages of our nation's decline one after another, and now we are witnessing the same stages again, but on a global scale. We cannot and do not want to tell other countries what to do. Each country must make its own decisions and do what is best for its people. We can only warn you with the words of a friend who has been through prison, dark times, and has spent his whole life fighting to get out of it. We cannot change the course of events in the world. El Salvador is too small a country. In fact, we are the smallest country on the entire American continent. It is much bigger than us and in fact bigger than any state. We cannot prevent the coming dark times, but what we can do is become a small refuge from the approaching storm and preserve hope. In Salvador, we do not imprison our opposition, we do not censor opinions, we do not confiscate the property of those who think differently, we do not arrest people for expressing their ideas. In Salvador, your freedom of speech as well as your private property will always be protected in Salvador. We put the safety of our honest citizens first, not the comfort of criminals. Some say that we put thousands of people in prison, but in reality we set millions free. Now the good guys live freely, without fear, with full freedom and respect for human rights. We want our people to thrive. That's why we encourage innovation and new ideas. We understand that for concepts to flourish, they need a safe and free space. Concepts should be explored, tested, and experimented with. They shouldn't be held back by outdated rules or fear of change. In El Salvador, they found a place to realize their ambitions, whether in technology, finance, energy, medicine, art, culture, music, or architecture. A few years ago, El Salvador was one of the darkest places on the planet. But soon our country was reborn. Because we reminded ourselves freedom can be taken. It is not given or handed over. And like everything else in life that's worth having, it needs care and attention. Today, Salvador is a country that is safe for progress and innovation, but also for family and for achieving our individual goals. In New Salvador, everyone belongs. We offer this safe space primarily for our people, as well as for those who want to share our vision and contribute to it. It won't be easy. The next step may be more difficult than the previous one. We have liberated our country, but we must preserve this freedom, and we must do it in a world that is becoming less and less free. Salvador has moved on from its past, which we vow never to revisit. It may already be too late to avoid the dark times our world faces today, but it's not too late to build an ark and weather the storm. May God bless humanity. Thank you very much. Thank you.